Okay, so to go in maintenance mode, you have to go in configuration. And well, here we saw the temperature page, and now we can go in maintenance. So here it indicates you, like, for example, all the software version there is. So that's the software on the PC. And also all the software which is in the electronic boards, the firmware we call it. And there's also all the list of anomalies and errors. So here I think the glass panel is a bit dirty. Well, actually there's a little dirt underneath, so I have to open up and clean it under the glass actually. Well, it's not even under the glass, it's the white panel below the glass. So
white panel below the glass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's under the under this surface.
Yeah, exactly, under the surface. So I have to open up, and I'll do it later.
You get the notes here?
Huh?
Note here about this information?
Yeah, so there's all the... It appeared every time you open and you close it, it does a check with the camera to see if there's no particles. And here the particles, and actually we saw it, there's 1 or 2 particles which are a bit big. So I think during the travel sometimes there's a little bit of dust. So yeah, so I have to take it out. So here anyway you have the list of errors. Also here you can change the temperature offset. So you see that the temperature, I asked for 37 degrees and here it's 36.9, so it's 0.1 degrees, so it's quite accurate. For example, every year you might do a calibration of the temperature. Maybe the temperature sensor is going to shift a little bit, you know, like lose like 1% every year. So usually what you do is that, well, what you can do, it depends on what regulations, what kind of calibration you do, but you can put an external sensor to check.
Because that, yes, so Engineer Mashur asked you about that.
Yeah.
If I can add the data logger.
Exactly. So that's what we have, some openings on each side. So what I recommend is to put if you put an exterior sensor, is to put the sensor close to the carousel sensor. So actually, I showed to some of one of you guys, but you can
place here or here kind of.
So there's 2 sensors. You can see one above the carousel up there, and there's one behind the camera there, actually behind the mouse.
Yeah, I see
So,
it.
there's one for each side, one for each element. And yeah, you see it? And the best is to be on the side of the carousel because the petri dish are on this side, so that's the real important observation.
We have the same opening like this?
Yeah, on the other side, yeah, exactly. So if the sensor drifts a little bit, you don't need to change the sensor, but you might change the offset and put it back, you know, in track.
Like threshold.
Yeah, like a little threshold. Because maybe the sensor drifts a little bit, so it's sensing a little bit high or a little bit too low after a few years. So you can change and change the offset of the temperature, so that the indication is good. Otherwise, you can put a post-it, add 0.2 degrees, but it doesn't look nice, so it's better to
offset is minus 0.3.
So here it's minus 0.3, so that's what we did, the calibration we did at the factory. And if you go under the question mark, it tells you exactly, you know, how to do. If you put a positive or negative, if it increases or decreases, so it's quite well explained. Yeah. Quite well explained. Also, you can do a camera check. So this, I think, you have to do without all the petri dish. So I think I had a calibration petri dish. Maybe it's inside the machine. I think I have to. So it's a calibration petri dish like that, and you have to place it in A1 position, and then check, verify, and then it will check the camera focus and the centering of the camera. So that's the calibration.
But it must all the racks empty.
Yeah, I think so, because it says analysis is in progress. And also after there's the disinfection module. So this we added quite recently. So if ever you have a contamination in the machine, you might want to clean it. And for cleaning, it's a bit complicated. So, because if you use spray, maybe it's going to go inside the machine on the electronic parts. You want to avoid that. So what I would recommend is wipes with alcohol, but not dripping. But then after, if you have a mold, you know, some how do you say, aerosol contamination of mold, it happens sometimes, and it's quite difficult to get rid of it. Especially, you know, some parts in the machine are you cannot have access. So an incubator, for example, is so simple. You can clean with a wipe everywhere. But this one, there's holes and the machine goes inside and the air goes, you know. So what you can use is, we validated a disinfection process with a small machine you can put inside, which will make like a cloud of H2O2, so hydrogen peroxide.
Very good, yes.
So, well, this is a request of the pharma industry. They need to do a sterilization every week usually, or maybe every month. Their incubators. So this small machine, we try to find a small machine manufacturer, and the machine is small enough so you can put inside the machine. So now it's available. I think when you ordered the machine, it was not yet available on our side. So we validated while you were.
By the way, I saw in the microbiology laboratory they have the UV small.
Yeah.
There's some of them. There's chance to put it inside.
Actually, the UV light works well, but it has to have a direct. The bacteria has to have a direct light, UV light. And here there's a lot of like tunnels, and the light won't go there. So
this is a small machine. I think it's.
So that's why we can't use the UV light. Well, it will work on certain surface, but not all the surface.
This small machine is very applicable.
So, but the cycle is a bit long. So the machine, you put a tank of H2O2, you connect it together, you start the machine, and start the disinfection process, and it would take like something like 8 hours, so it will be more overnight. So I don't think for food application it's compulsory, it's absolutely necessary. It's more, if ever you see that you have a big contamination, and even after wiping with alcohol, it's still there, and you put blank petri dish and there's contamination inside, maybe then in that case you might think about doing a disinfection with H2O2. But yeah, just to let you know that it exists. And then after we can go in the maintenance mode. So you need a special password. It's not this. Wait, I think I had a notepad. No, I have to re-input it again. Sorry. It's on my computer there. I can give it to you. No problem. En cap, je crois. W. W297 en minuscule. Ouais. W6W. D majuscule. W minuscule. T minuscule. E majuscule. Okay. So here you go in maintenance mode, and you have a lot of things you can do to test the machine. You can start here. You can calibrate all the different axes of the robot. So Z will be, well, theta would be the rotation of the arm, Z is the vertical, and the carousel is the rotating carousel. So the three of them have sensors and they need a calibration. So we do that at the factory. You shouldn't change it, except if you change a robotic part or you think is necessary. Well,
of course.
Yeah. Then after there's the offsets. But I mean the calibration will, so the robot, if you push calibrate, it will move until the mechanical stoppers, and it will calibrate the values of the sensor against the mechanical stoppers. And then after you have an offset. For example, the Z-axis, so here the same thing, there's some explanations, but the carousel, the petals are a certain height. Yeah, and then the gripper will go at a certain height too, and it needs to be a bit above, but not too much high. So if it's a bit too high, you can offset and diminish, you know, the height, or you can make it a little bit bigger. Usually the gripper should go in the petrol 1 millimeter above the petrol, and so to take the petri dish from the bottom. But if it's too high, it will touch the cover. So, and then after it will lose the petri dish. So you don't want this to happen. So that's why we set the gripper at an altitude of 1 millimeter above the petrol.
Surface.
Yeah. So this has to be quite accurate.
By the way, adjust an automatic adjusting, or no need to add some?
No, it's we try to make the robot very rigid during the construction. So even after coming from France, it didn't move. So it seemed to be working fine.
That's okay.
But I don't know, if ever there's a shift, you can adjust it a little bit. Or if you have, if you see that it takes the petri dish, or it will touch the petrol, for example, well, you should add and make it a little bit higher. But if it touches the cover, you should put it a little bit lower. No. And also there's the offset of when you take the petri dish. If the gripper goes too much in the carousel, when it pays the petrol back, it will bump, you know, and it will make a noise. So that's no good. Or if it's too way out, it will lie the petri dish on the petrol a little bit too much, so it doesn't look good, you know. Or maybe the carousel position too. So all of this you can put a slight offset, and you can adjust it yourself if necessary. Yeah. Usually when there's gripping problems, you can adjust it a little bit. Yeah. Usually, I don't think you're gonna have to use it, but I'm just showing you what you can do.
Yes, after the journey from France, it's okay.
It's okay, so it should be okay after. Yeah. But sometimes, for example, I think in the US you did a little bit of adjustment. I think
yes.
It was a 300, so it's bigger.
So it was a bit different. On mechanical.
And it moved a little bit, yeah. Maybe a few tenths of millimeters, but we adjusted a little bit.
Maybe they
from where?
I think it moved a little bit, but it's a 300, so it's much taller, and the axis and the carousel moved a little bit in between, so we had to adjust it a little bit. It's really on the top 300 sometimes, yeah. But it's just a slight adjustment. So it happens sometimes, not that often. And then there's a camera adjustment too, so you can see, maybe I can show you that. So I'm going to place this one in A1. Sorry? And you can ask the robot to go and get the camera. So I'm going to wait and finish the movement. Okay. So here the robot. Okay, it took the calibration plate and put it under the camera, and you can check the camera image, for example. Here. It's a bit strange. It's like half off. I don't know. It's very strange.
But it is in the center. You see
in
the
center. Yeah.
The center of the blade is the center of the caliber.
True. I'm gonna start it again.
بيورينا حاجة في المنطقة.
Started to send it back.
There is a misconnection between.
Maybe, I don't know, I have a bug. And yeah.
This is electronics.
Yeah.
It's happened because the device is working.
Yeah, I can't have the.
And task is not open. That's it.
Yeah. And I cannot make it appear. So,
Okay. Try Alt Tab.
I think it's behind this one. Wait.
No, it's
Oh yeah. This window doesn't close.
Okay, try from this.
Yeah.
okay. You can put from here. Take it back. Yeah. No, press the button.
How to press the button?
Press from the image.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, this. Okay. Some error on the device.
Yeah. I think I just need to restart it. Yeah.
Restart.
You can log off.
No?
Log it off and log in. Windows L.
Sign out?
No, yeah, you can sign out and go to close just the programs.
Yeah. Is it? Sign out? Yeah, probably.
And sign in. Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna restart, I think, or maybe I have to restart it myself. Okay. Yeah, I think we did a lot of things at the same time, so. Maybe the password, I'm gonna write it down on the notepad.
Write it on the notepad and create its password.
Yeah. Est-ce que tu peux me le redonner, pardon? Pardon, W. 07. Ok, d'accord. I'll save it on the.
Make it with the software the system. Maintenance password.
Okay. I'll put it on the desktop, okay? Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, so I'll ask to have it under the camera. So I'm gonna go and take it. Okay. Then I ask for camera image. Just hoping that will work. Okay, it's working better. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
a little bit there is a...
Yeah, it's a little off, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad.
It's already mentioned that it's 93%,
Yeah. Okay, and then I put it back in the carousel. Yeah. So now it's back there. Okay. Okay, and then after there's all the temperature sensors, so you can have the temperature of all. So you can see there's a little difference between the carousel and the camera, actually.
Yeah.
And also we have a exterior temperature sensor
For the room temperature.
for the room temperature, and also we have another sensor in the electronic casing, so that the boards they don't heat too much, to control the fan. And then after we have the current we have in the Peltier elements.
Hmm.
So actually you can see that if you start the Peltier elements, you can hear the sound which is
This sound of heating.
sound of heating of
Yeah.
the fan, and you can see that the current really augmented. So now it's 12 amperes going through the Peltier elements. So you can check if it's working or not. So you can control every element one by itself. And then after there's all the settings for the regulation of temperature, the PID, which is a proportional, integral, and derivative way to control, but usually you wouldn't change it, I think. And then you can have the temperature offset, you have it here too, the one we saw before, and you can also have an offset of separate between right and left. If you see too much difference between the right and left,
Okay.
you can set an offset also. And then after there's a counter to check how much the motor were working. So it's not an hour counter, but it's more of how much it traveled, the z-axis, how many meters it did travel. So I think our supplier told us that around like 10 kilometers you should put some grease. Every 10 kilometers of traveling. It's not much compared to a car, right? But still, so we calculated in meters, so it did 200 meters, so still a long way to go until 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers,
But, it's just, I don't know. Then the z-axis are, well, anyway. So when you grease, you can reset. Okay.
I can reset.
Well, you can reset this one, but the factory, I don't think you can reset.
I can
You
reset the
one counter.
starting. Yeah, yeah, good. Like
Like the
car,
car. Yeah, like the
kilometer
car. Yeah,
counter.
yeah. You cannot change, but
Yeah,
you can
you-
change the maintenance counter. Yeah.
Only the maintenance.
Only- Of course. And then there's a lot of tests you can do to check if all the motors are working. So, for example, if I press the gripper test, you will see that the gripper will be moving. So I think it moved. I can do it again if you want.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can see it's moving, and checking the sensor is okay, so you should have green lights. Same for the z-axis, so the z-axis will be moving. Checking with the sensor too if it's working okay, the carousel too, so you should have all green lights. So if you want to check it, it's
And
a
also
good way to check.
Yeah.
And then the theta-axis. So it has to go down to be able to move. You will see it moving, making the movements. So yeah, so there's a buzzer test, but I won't try it now because it's too loud. And then there's all the fans you can check to see if they're working okay. So I think there's an exterior camera, for example. It takes a little while. You can hear the sound, so you're like, okay, it's working. And then the Peltier modules I showed you. So you can, with the Peltier module, you can heat on one side and cool the other one, or you can reverse it too, so you can make it work. For example, if you make it to cool, that would be 13 amperes positive, and if you make it heat, it will be the reverse, I suppose. So minus. Not even. And then I press heat. No, it's still positive. I don't know. It should be, the other way around. I don't know. And then you can check all the lights. For example, the top light. You can see here it's changing the top light.
Yeah.
And also the white background light. So actually here you can see there's a little dust on the white background. Actually, you can see it, the black dust.
Yeah,
So maybe I have to try to clean this up.
a little bit, yeah.
So that's why there's an error of the cleaning. Yeah, so that's the maintenance mode on the software. So I think we saw a little bit of everything.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
easy. And,
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Everything is clear.
Yeah, yeah.
They're doing once a year or
So, so that's for more troubleshooting. Actually, there's an annual maintenance, and this will be to change the filters inside and to put some grease. So, we already provided a few filters, I don't know, for 3 or 4 years, and some grease, enough for 10 years. So this can be done by yourselves or by Adeco, I think. Is a bit of mechanics. You have to open up the machine, unscrew stuff. Greasing is a little bit difficult. So I think, but I think we should do this training tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow with
So
the
we should
individual ones.
yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah, Adeco knows really how to do
all of these things.
all of these things. I mean, this should be an annual maintenance. If the machine runs 24 hours all the time. If you don't use it that often, if you don't do the annual maintenance, it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as you're under like 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers,
Yeah.
should be fine. You know, the grease dries out a little bit. Maybe it's going to become a little bit more noisy, but you know, so, I mean, so it's best to do the annual maintenance. But yeah, if you don't do it, it's okay. There won't be any warning. We think maybe we should put like a warning, like on the new cars, you know. Like it's going so maybe we should sell more maintenance, you know. You know, but yeah.
Like a tool with alarm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You must do maintenance.
But we haven't done it yet, so you have a version without any alarms. So it's okay. Yeah, no. So I think it's done. Now, little details. For example, here there's a stopper that we put on the back, so that the machine
to keep it
far
from
yeah, a certain distance. So that's quite important. So you should keep them on. So we made it removable, so you can go through the doors. And what else?
which is better that is with magnet, not screw.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think there's not even magnets. It's just magnets. Yeah, it's just pop in. And that's it. Very simple.
Very simple.
Very simple. Yeah. I think. What else? Do you have any questions or?
Like the small machines in Interscience, everything is clear and
Oh yeah.
easy.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. We're trying to make it usable.
Even the software are
Yeah, the software is quite. Oh yeah. So now they're dark. So that means they're finished. So
dark is finished. Yeah.
yeah, dark is finished. So while I was in maintenance mode, I think we didn't heat, so the temperature went a little bit down. So you can hear them; they're having a bit more power to catch up the temperature. And maybe we can, if you want, to take them out, maybe I can show you how to do. So there's 3 petri dish that are over, so A3, A6, A10. So maybe we can take them out, and if you want, we can go together in the result approval and in archives. Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So so we can go there.
First.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
So the machine is running, but still you can press the unlock button, and it will. Please press it. And so it will be orange because it will finish the movement.
It will not give me a green till the arm
Oh yeah,
finished
exactly.
work. Yeah.
To open the door.
So now actually there's a mechanical lock. It's a safety lock. Yeah. So here, okay, you heard the unlocking. So now it's green. So it's open. Yeah. So it's squeaking actually. Okay, so I think there's a green light for the 3 of them. You can take if you look. The other ones, they're
right.
orange. Yeah, orange means busy. So
was
Upside down.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, to show you, actually here you have some holes there. You can see there the air coming out, and there's some holes inside the aluminium plate. So actually, we try to make like laminary airflow like this, and then it goes inside, and it goes back up with those two chimneys there, 1 and 2, and it goes in the diffusion plate. So you can take swabs. Maybe you can leave a package open like that for 1 hour.
Okay.
Also, you can put one in there.
Okay.
Also, you can put one in here.
Okay.
Here, maybe we have to be careful that when it takes the plate here, it doesn't touch.
So لازم نطلع الكلام ده.
Maybe one here is good, and one there is good.
If I do this test, I must be off the
standby.
Stand by, yeah. Yeah, I see. Yeah, maybe standby mode. So, you can just put a petri dish.
السؤال بقى معلش.
Just place a petri dish, and when it asks for the sample number, you just don't put anything, so the machine won't start, but the incubation will still be running.
طب لو عندنا طبق مانوال عايزين نصوره مانوال ينفع ولا لازم نشغل ده كله عشان نعمله؟
طبق مانيوال.
يعني عندنا طبق واحد عاوزين نصوره.
I don't know. The thing is, it depends.
نحطه على الكاميرا ونصور بس تصويره بس.
I mean, very clean environment.
ما ينفعش
But
نحطه على الكاميرا على
still, you
طول
will
ده.
have a little contamination. It's not a clean room. Huh? I don't know. Do you filter the air?
Yeah.
You filter, yeah. Because I saw that the petri dish we left yesterday, practically nothing growing.
Yeah.
Because that's a
So-
selective medium.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's
Because I put
selective
my
media.
fingers too.
No.
Nothing grows. So
But sure, your
Yeah.
hand, your
Just
hand
salmonella.
without salmonella.
hopefully, yeah. So.
Okay.
So, but there will be a little bit of contamination because it's not sterile, but still. So you have to know how much you can allow.
I think
What's
this
what's the?
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the duration. But how much bacteria can grow?
Yeah, I
or
know
not?
that's in.
What's the level, maximum level?
I have this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It must inside. It must zero. It must be zero.
Yeah, but if you don't have zero, what do you do?
We have sterilization تعقيم.
We have to disinfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I mean, when you place the petri dish inside, they're protected by the lid, no? So the air doesn't go
Manuel,
in.
Manuel.
So
he took in this case.
Yeah.
If I need to include this in ISO.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But what I
But-
mean is that inside is not a clean room. Here is not a clean room, and inside is not a clean room either. So what I mean is, if you do the test, if you have one bacteria, if you have to sterilize each time you have one bacteria, maybe it's going to take a lot of time and be complicated. And even if you disinfect inside, when you open the door, maybe one bacteria goes back
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
So maybe each time there's always one bacteria left.
No.
And
Practically, it will be hard to
will
keep
be
it
hard
zero.
It will be hard to keep it zero. So what I'm saying is maybe you need to have a certain level you can accept or not. And how you define this level is a bit complicated. That's what I'm saying. It's not that easy.
Which is good